Welcome back, ladies. So today we're going to take some questions.
I can't wait.
We're going to talk about attraction,
Ooh.
specifically if it's okay to be attracted to another person outside of your relationship, porn in relationships, vulnerability in relationships, dating people that your parents don't approve of.
Oh, no.
What else do we got?
No, those are all good.
Well, let's get into it. Hi, Chrissy Kate.
Hello.
What's you doing?
Sitting here with you.
Oh my goodness, another week.
How was your weekend?
Busy.
Really?
It was busy.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Running around. Andrew's grandma's actually moving
I know.
to Vegas.
That's so exciting.
Can you believe it?
From Kansas?
She is from Kansas,
Okay.
but she was living in Denver and then living in Arkansas. She's just everywhere.
She's killing
And now
it.
she's trying out Vegas for the first time.
That's so exciting.
I know. And she's going to be.
Wait, sorry. Crystal convinces everybody to Vegas. It's like an illness.
I do.
If you don't
I
live in Vegas,
actually
you
did-
no, everybody.
But I didn't do the convincing.
That's true.
Yeah.
This time you didn't. But normally
Yeah.
it's like, okay, if you talk to her, come to visit her, you will be moving to Vegas probably in the next year.
Most likely only because I just feel like Vegas is the place to be.
It has everything.
Honestly, I've lived here my whole life and we travel quite a bit and there's no place like home. So
Yeah.
that's how I got you out here.
I know. I'm a sucker. No, and I keep coming back. I'll move away and then I'm back. Like I can't stay away. You're like, so are you sure you don't want to come back? I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'll be back.
Yep.
I started watching a show.
What?
It's so good. I watched probably 10 episodes last night.
What is
It's
it?
naughty though.
What is
It was
it?
naughty. It's called A Teacher.
What's it about?
A teacher that has sex with her student.
What?
But the student's really hot, which is not good.
Wait, so this is like what? High school?
He's in high school.
Oh my God.
And she's like 30 years old. And it's on Hulu if anybody wants to watch it. It's like FX on Hulu.
How do you find these shows?
I don't know. I watched all of it yesterday. That's all I did all day.
Oh my God.
It was so good.
That just reminded me. We actually started
What?
a new show. Well, just to recap the show that you were talking about with Hugh Grant.
Not Jackman.
Okay, if you guys caught that episode, I thought she was talking about Hugh Jackman. I was like, he's just so inspirational. Hugh Grant is not inspirational to me. He's a phenomenal actor, but he's definitely not. Just so we're clear, okay? But I did watch that new show with him and Nicole Kidman, The Undoing. Absolutely phenomenal. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and watch that. But we're watching a sci-fi show.
Oh.
It's called Raised with Wolves.
That's up your
I
alley.
think that's the show name. If it's not, I'll clarify below. But it is so far insane. Love it.
What's it about? Or you can't say, or will it give away the plot?
It's just a crazy show. It's a sci-fi show. So it's like interplanet.
Oh.
Earth was destroyed. They're like, I'm not gonna, no. Yeah. Just check it out. It's really good.
We'll put these
Andrew's
below.
like a huge sci-fi reader. I mean, he loves books in general. He loves every genre, but sci-fi is really like something that he truly enjoys. And sometimes when he wants to watch a show, it's like hit or miss. And I'm like, this is just not going to be my thing. But this one is.
Did you guys? Okay, there was a show. It was on HBO, but I think like 6 months ago. The Stranger. No.
Stranger Things?
No.
Oh.
I don't know what it was. And Andrew loved it. And you and I both thought it was horrible.
Yeah, what was it?
I
think
forget.
remember- yeah.
Okay, if I can think of it, I'll put it below.
Yeah.
But I have no idea anymore.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, so that's a good show. Okay, so what was yours again?
A Teacher.
A Teacher. Okay.
No one has famous people. Like it's so good.
Really? Okay, we'll have to
And I
check
have a
that.
crush on the actor. He's over 18, by the way, everyone. He's like 22 in real life.
Yeah, everyone thinks that.
No, because I'm watching. I'm like, I'm in love with him. So I Googled it just to make sure.
He's
I
like
also-
45. There's some actors that look so young that they play like young characters and they're like 57.
Like everyone in Twilight, they're all supposed to be in high school and they're
Yeah.
all 40.
Yeah.
I'm like, but they're all really
Truly.
pale, so it's okay.
So true.
Okay, so what are we doing today?
Today, you know what? It's been a week.
Yeah,
It's been a week.
Yeah.
And I thought, actually, you thought.
You can take credit though.
Let's make this clear.
She thought.
We thought.
Oh, that's good.
We
both get
we're
credit.
a unit. To answer some questions. We get tons of emails with amazing questions. And we don't, I mean, we try to cover them in the topics that we do for our episodes.
Yeah.
But today I just wanted to we didn't want like a specific topic today. We just want to take some questions and, yeah.
And as we always say, if you guys have any questions, send them to ask@theladiescoach.com.
Yes.
And if you guys like these Q&A episodes where we just answer different questions over different topics, let us know. And then we could like maybe every month or two just do question episodes.
Yep.
If people like it. Should we get started?
Let's get started.
Okay. Hi, Crystal and Chrissy. Hello.
Hi.
I've been listening to your YouTube videos, which I'm loving. I know, I'm so excited. Thank you. I wanted to ask you a question about attraction. I am currently in a 7-year relationship. My relationship is great. However, it lacks the energy that we had when we first started dating. I miss that feeling so much, but at the same time, I am so happy in all other aspects of my relationship. I work with a man, and from the minute we met, there was this intense energy. Generally, we speak about work and there is nothing there. However, when we get a minute to sit and chat, where it's just us, there is always this insane chemistry. I would never cheat, and he is also married with a family. And even if I was given the opportunity to pursue something, I wouldn't. My question is it normal to feel attracted to other people and fantasize about others? Is it possible to recreate or sustain that energy you had with someone when you first met? I feel this is so taboo to discuss and something I'm not comfortable to speak to others about, but I would absolutely love your thoughts and opinions.
I love this question.
And I like the honesty.
It literally just made I started vibing, not vibing, but I just started.
I saw you twitch.
Like I just got excited. So back it up, she mentioned everything in the relationship in her current relationship is good. But she said, I miss that energy so much.
Like the honeymoon phase.
But she said that was like when you send questions, I like to kind of pick apart the words that you use. Okay. So when we're talking about chemistry and attraction, it's all energetic play. That's what it is, right? Of course, attraction can be built off of just you can see someone and oh my God, they're hot. But attraction is all about energy. And she had just mentioned that. So what I would first do, and I want to kind of use this as a sample. If you can find the part where she said in the beginning.
Her relationship's great.
However,
it lacks the energy we had when we first started dating.
It lacks the energy. So now let's stop there. I want her, if you're listening, or if anybody can identify or see themselves in this question, dissect what that energy is. That energy is really, really important. So in the beginning, you felt an energy. What is that? What did it feel like? What sparked it? What kind of conversations did you and your partner have? What kind of things did you and your partner do? In the beginning of every relationship, there's a sense of wonder. Mm-hmm. And of course, there's excitement because you don't know what's behind the curtain yet, right? Because in the beginning, you're in awe of a person all the time because it's just new. When you are in a relationship, especially 7 years, it's really hard to not know everything about a person, right? It's hard to find some sense of wonder and mystery in that relationship because you have, you've been together for a long time. You have your day-to-days together. You have life stresses together. Probably some of you have kids together. The relationship changes. Is it okay to be attracted and find that energy somewhere else outside of the relationship? I will say, everybody points fingers at men. Like men are usually the cheaters in relationships. Women fantasize about other people way more than men. That's just something but there are studies on this, that women fantasize about other people way more than men do. Sometimes, and I'm not going to overgeneralize, if you want to say that most men will act upon it, but they do not, they're not the ones who usually fantasize. So what I would say is the attraction that you're feeling towards something or someone is something that you want to feel in your relationship. Is that wrong? No, right? So it's an opportunity. Once you figure out what that attraction is coming from with this other person at work, there's ways to open and expand that in your relationship. Because yes, it's new. Like again, you're talking about somebody at work you don't know. It's mystery. It's excitement. They're probably complimenting you on things that you probably haven't heard your partner compliment you. And like somebody sees you in a new light, right? Because then when you go home, it's like your partner spends every day with you for the last 7 years. You probably don't feel like they look at you in this sense of, oh, it's my love. You're so beautiful. You dissect what that energy is from the energy that you miss that you had in the beginning of the relationship and see how you can recreate it now. So you hear a lot of people talk about date nights, but more so than just date nights and because there's a lot of couples that go on dates and they have nothing to talk about. What are things that are interesting you right now, right? What are things that, you are currently doing or currently curious about that your partner may not know? And make that the topic of discussion, because it's so easy to go out with your partner and you're like, we're going on date night because you want to, spark, you want to recreate passion in your relationship and you want to spend quality time and all of those things. But if you're in a point where everything is dull and you are looking for outside energy to stimulate you, you have to recreate this energy within your relationship. And I think the best way to do is have some kind of thing that you want to, something that you want to achieve in the date, right? So a topic that you guys want to talk about that you guys haven't discussed yet. Some people play pickup at the bar where you're just like playing like you're a new person and your partner has to try to pick you up. And this is why I love that idea is because what they would have done, or what they, I guess how they would have picked you up 7 years ago, it's probably not going to work today. So what it does is it gives them an opportunity to level up, right? So now they know you. They probably don't know many of your new interests, which is a good place to start with your partner. And their whole job is to try to pick you up now, right? And that, I think, is a great opportunity for you guys to explore and you guys to play different characters. Another thing with stagnant energy in long-term relationships comes from you just staying in one individual role in the relationship. Your many things, and I think something we'll talk about in the future is kind of like your different energies, your different feminine energies. But there's so many different facets of who you are. But in relationships, we just get stuck into one thing. So a lot of moms just get stuck in the mom role that you don't think you're a sexual creature anymore. You don't feel sexual or you don't feel like playful, right? Last episode, I talked about things I want to bring into the new year, words I want to focus on and energies I want to pull from because I know as a new mom that I don't want to get stuck in an energy or in a role that's going to disconnect me from my partner. So the best thing you can do when you start playing, and the reason why that pickup game with your partner, and having your partner try to pick you up at a bar or whatever, well, can't do bars now, but you could do it. You can role play at home, is it gets you outside of whatever role is keeping you stuck. Because then when you go to work, you're not in the same role.
Oh, that's true.
You're not in the same role that you're playing in and day out at home. So it feels exciting. But you can bring different roles to your household and to your love. And I think that's what she's trying to experience and explore.
Do you think, I think a lot of people wonder, is there a way to keep passion, or what even is passion and how does that sustain long term?
Well, passion is just a feeling, right?
Yeah.
It's not something that's like, passion isn't something that you feel all day. It's just something that comes through. It's an energy that comes through. So I don't want us to get tied to, oh my God, I just want to be in this passionate relationship. Well, passion is fleeting, just like any other emotion, right? So we feel probably 5 different emotions a day. Some of us more than that.
Probably 500.
So I don't want us to get stuck on passion, because here's the thing, like when you're in a relationship, you have shit to do.
Yeah.
You have kids to take care of, you have businesses to run, you have work to go to, you have life stresses to handle. There is just you're not going to be in this passionate state all the time. But you can create passionate moments at any time. And that's just kind of experimenting and getting outside of the roles that are keeping you stuck. So if you're trying to have hot sex, well, you're going to have to probably, most likely, take your mom hat off, right? You're not going to like go and fuck your man, excuse me, with your mom hat on.
Yeah.
Like you have to identify the different roles that you need to bring into the things that you're trying to create in your relationship.
Is it even always up to your partner to keep this passion alive also? Because I feel like part of it is feeling passion within ourselves and feeling excitement in our lives. And then that also can translate into the relationship.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people put so much pressure and so much emphasis on it's their partner's responsibility to be passionate and make them feel passion.
And that goes back to, remember when you asked me last week about expectations?
Yes.
We are all responsible for the energy that we bring into any relationship at all. That is your responsibility. And you can feel good with the energy alone that you bring. You feeling hot during intimacy has nothing to do with your partner. In fact, a lot of them, like every time I get emails about, I feel so insecure about my body and it's ruining my sex life, I can assure you,
Guys,
your man does not critique your body. And if he does, he's an asshole. You are the one, we are the ones who put so much unneeded pressure on ourselves that the one thing, if you want to make your sex life hot and passionate, you need to bring that energy first. So do something that makes you feel like, I look good right now. I feel good right now. And initiate. I think a lot of us get afraid to just initiate intimacy, but that's hot, right? So you're the one who is responsible for bringing that energy. And I think that would on its own transform the relationship.
Okay. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, that was a good question.
Okay. This is a shorter one.
Okay.
I have a relationship with an older man. We don't know how much older, and my parents don't approve, but I really do love him. We've been connected now for over 10 years, and I'm so torn about what to do.
Okay. Well,
it's kind of vague, but.
Okay. But assuming that you are over 18, preferably over 21, depending on how old this guy is. If you're an adult, you're an adult. You can choose whoever you want to be with, honestly. Parents shouldn't have control over you in that matter. So I know this is a vague question. And I know for one of my ladies, I know who sent this and she is older. Girl, do you. This is not, we don't live, at this point, we are all in control of our own lives, our own relationships. And if you're happy and this person, you have that connection with, by all means, do what you need to do.
I'm also curious though, maybe there's other reasons they don't like him and they're using the age as an excuse for something else.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's no one's business.
No, and if you like him and he treats you well, then
yeah,
they'd have to accept it.
I mean, we all want to make sure that our parents like who we're dating, but at what cost? Because at the same time, it's, if you're, we're all grown ass women and we're all responsible for the people that we allow in our lives and the people that we want to love. And at some point you have to cut the ties that you have with family members and friends and what everybody wants for you. It's your life at the end of the day.
The guy I'm dating is 10 years older than me, and my dad was freaking out about it when we first started dating.
Really?
Like, that's so old. Oh my God. And then they met. He's like, oh, I get it. It's amazing. But like before he met him, he was freaking out, thinking it was like this giant age gap. We would have nothing in common. Then I date people that are 30 and I'm like, I cannot be your mother.
No.
Like I am literally your mother.
Yeah. No,
And
it's so true.
I could not. So
Yeah.
I don't, age, I just think there might be something else too. Maybe it's not about age.
Yeah. I think, I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you are a grown woman, those are your choices. And you have to be okay with it.
Okay. This is a juicy topic. How do you deal with finding out that your husband is masturbating to pornography when alone? We've been together for 5 years, engaged for 1 year. Before dating, we were pretty laid back about these topics. Could this be where I failed at setting boundaries? He has never been a great communicator and would rather run away from conflict than talk things out. He refuses to talk about this subject, but I'm sure he's embarrassed since I heard it happening. He has also continued to do it after I expressed the way that it makes me feel.
Okay. Well, so she did express what it made, like her problem with it. My question would be, I mean, we've done an episode on porn in relationships and my take on it. I don't see a problem with it. I think it could be a great tool for partners, especially if you're trying to, just like the first question that we had,
Spice it up.
if you're trying to spice it up. If you have an issue with it, like a moral issue or something that is triggering you, those are things that have to be communicated within your relationship. Do I think all porn is bad? No. As long as it's adding to, it's health. I like to use this word healthful in your relationship. Now I don't know if she is in a relationship with someone who's addicted to porn. That might be a different conversation, and that might be a little bit harder, and that might be where you would probably raise your hand for help, especially if you don't know how to communicate effectively, especially if he shuts down and wants to avoid conflict. You might need somebody to help you with that, because sexuality is such a intimate. Sexuality is so much a part of who we are that it could feel quite shameful if you don't approach it in a delicate way. But those are things that, especially for all our new babes, if you're going into a relationship, having talks about what you desire sexually is really, really important, because then years down the line, you guys didn't communicate that, or one person is hiding their sexuality for fear of lack of love and all of those things, and fear of being seen and not being loved. That's going to be a problem in the future. So communicating, opening that up and exploring. If there are absolute no's, that needs to be addressed. There is a list, and I will add this to our show notes. If you go to theladiescoach.com, at the bottom of this, we always have an article with every episode that we do with resources that we've talked about in the show. And there is a sexual, so many online you can Google, but I will find one and add one here, of course, referencing who the creator is, where you can go through with your partner sexual preferences.
Ooh.
Where it's to just how you like to be touched, what gets you in the mood. Do you like to be spanked? Is that and there's kind of in this quiz and what you can go through with your partner is, it'll say a question like, do you like to be spanked? And there's an option for yes, no, maybe. And that way, if you guys have some maybes on your list, those are things that you can explore and see.
Ooh.
Same with any other. So I think this would be a great thing for anybody in a relationship to take. I know that sexuality, it's like sex and money are so taboo
to talk about.
Right. But those are the most important things in relationships. That's what differentiates you from all your other relationships is sex and money. These are all just energetic plays, and we have to be on the same page, just like your value systems. Everything you value in life, you have to have your similar core values. And those values, looking at your values list, seeing how they play into your sexuality And those are things that you have to address. And so pornography, it's on that list too, at least the list that I've gone through. Is it a deal breaker? Is it something that you want to use? And again, it's yes, no, maybe. All the no's on that list, you guys can go through together and talk about and discuss why those are no's. It could be something, because again, sexuality is so personal, but she could have just a bad history with pornography, and maybe it's triggering her in this relationship. It could be a past relationship, or she could have unfortunately, some things have happened. Some things she could have gone through when she was younger, and these are things that are triggering her. But these things need to be discussed with the partner, because if you're going to make your partner, I guess you're not doing it consciously, but when you're talking about, or shaming them for masturbating, it's kind of like shaming their sexuality and shaming, something that they like. It's such a personal thing. They kind of have to know that it's where that's coming from.
Well, and also I think from what she was saying was before she was kind of laid back about this, and it just started becoming more of an issue for her.
Right.
So then her thing is, okay, before I was okay with it, and he knew that I was okay with it. So how do you communicate, or can you think of a time where you have been okay with something and then your boundaries have changed?
Yeah, it could be because going back to, I don't know how aggressive this situation is. He could be addicted, and that's probably what you're picking up in that, and we won't know from this question. And that's where I'm saying, you might need someone to assist you in that communication. If that's a relationship you really want, an area in the relationship you want to work on and open up without shaming each other, definitely raise your hand for help, and get somebody in, where you guys can open that conversation up. If it's a problem with being just the cool girl in the beginning and then things have changed, again, I think this list that you guys can, it just takes the edge off. What it's saying is, hey, there's an elephant in the room, and I'm feeling a little, I have an issue with it. Maybe my issue is because I feel like you'd rather watch porn than have sex with me. Maybe the issue is, I fear this could lead into a problem in our relationship. Whatever it is, you're opening it up, and then you're saying, hey, let's just talk about, I don't think we've ever talked about this. I want us to have a thriving sex life, and I don't want to shame you for things that you do, but I also want to open it up so I feel like my sexual needs and your sexual needs are being met. So let's open up this conversation, and let's go through some things that we would, say yes or no to, or things that we would like to try.
I like that too, because she says that he's never been a great communicator. So this is a good way to open it up without shaming him or making him feel bad.
And there might be some kinky shit on that list that he wants to try, and you might be like, but again, you can go through, the shock value. Again, we have to really be careful when we're shaming our significant others for things that they want to do. And I think that because of our own personal triggers, it's easy to, when you hear something that your partner wants to try, to feel it's a personal thing, because sexuality is such a personal thing. That's why in the beginning, I think it's really important to go through this, because, 10 years down the road, you guys aren't on the same page. Little harder.
Now I want to take this quiz.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, what? Also, I would say, we had Jaya Ma, who was on the podcast, and she is phenomenal. She talks about the erotic blueprints that she created. And these blueprints, you can take the quiz, and it tells you your sexual energy. I think she had 4 or 5. She had energetic, sensual, sexual, kinky, and shapeshifter. Yeah. The shapeshifter is someone who can kind of go in and out of all of these things, which I think we all have a little bit of that. But where you'll see that where you fall primarily, a lot of my partner, Andrew, is sexual.
Are a lot of guys sexual?
I'm more, a lot of people think that, but that's not true.
Oh.
Because so this is where I'm glad you asked that question, because a lot of women feel offended when like they get naked and they're walking into the room and their partner is just not into it, because we've been brainwashed into believing men are sexual creatures, and that's just not the case all the time. And Jaya actually discussed a point in her relationship as a sex expert, a world-renowned sex expert, where in her relationship, she was feeling like, oh my God, he's dismissing me, he's rejecting me, and this is my field and I don't know what to do. And she's been with, they've been with each other for many years, and she found out that he actually just is kinky. And she wasn't, she missed that. And so she went on this whole exploration on how to bring in, because she wasn't kinky, like that's not her sexual blueprint, but that was his. And then she talked about the two sides of kinky. There's the physical and the psychological kinky. The physical kinky is like, spanking and tying and all of those things. Psychological kinky is a different thing. That is like wordplay. That is energy play. That is, so definitely check out that episode. I think it was such an eye-opening episode. And what you will see is that things that you feel are so personal, like your husband watching porn, will start to make sense in that, where it takes the edge off, and it's just like, oh, this is a sexual blueprint. Now let's open it up. What can I do to fulfill this, to communicate in your sexual language?
It's like the love languages. The five, is it 5?
Yeah, 5 love languages.
In the bedroom though.
Yes, definitely. So I will put a sheet for doing the quiz with your, doing like the preferences, sexual preferences, and then Jaya's episode and her quiz.
Perfect. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I've been speaking to and seeing this guy for a while, about a month or so. That's not that long, but we've hung out a couple times, and when we're together, I get the feeling that he's into me. But when we aren't together, he doesn't ask to see me. He never compliments me, and rarely is flirty, but I still get the feeling he does like me. I just want to know whether or not I should say something to him or if I should jump ship.
Okay. Now that I heard that question a little bit better, I remember you going
I forgot
over
the part about that he doesn't ask to see her.
Let's not hear, ladies. So it's really important for us to not make a thing, what's the evidence that he does like you?
That's what I'm wondering.
If he's not wanting to see you, because here's the thing. At first I was like, well, he's a dude. He's not complimenting you when you guys don't see each other. Well, because you guys aren't seeing each other. And guys aren't really, this is overgeneralizing, but most men are just not good on the phone. They're not. If you saw the way that Andrew texts and how, he's just not, they're not good they're not, their communication styles are different in person also. But to have expectations of how they're going to show up and what messages they're going to send you and how they should be thinking about you and all those things, that's different. But I did not hear the part that
he doesn't ask to see her.
Yeah. So we're going to say
jump ship. No, or let him show up. I would stop making an effort and I would let him show up. And if he really wants to see you, he will make the effort to come see you. Compliments. Yeah. Cause the guy I'm with, he's not good about it.
No, but
and we're long distance, So the effort really, really needs to be there in that regard. And that's his biggest struggle. So for him, and thanks to Crystal last week, I am appreciating more.
Good.
I'm trying to. Because I know in his weird little way, because he'll be like, hi, I saw a car and I thought of you. And I'm like, okay, that's him trying to be cute and sweet in his own little weird way. Where before I'm like, he doesn't say anything nice to me.
Yes.
So I'm learning too.
And then it becomes especially in long-term relationships, when you get, it becomes the expectations become nags. And then partners do shut down depending on their communication style. So because it's well, I can't win no matter what I do. So coming from appreciation in relationships is really important. But with this, we have to be really careful about making
spade.
Yeah, making something bigger than it is. You say that he likes you, but I don't, like, what's the evidence that proves that? And are we settling?
Yeah.
Like, are there, like, is he showing just like, is he giving you breadcrumbs and you're making it bigger than it is?
No,
You
or
know
if
what I
they're
mean?
together, maybe they're intimate together.
Yeah.
So physically he's into her when they're physically together, but then
Yeah.
when they're apart, he's not showing any effort.
Right. And if a man likes you, he will show up. He will show you. Again, communication is always different, but they will show you in their own way, and you will have full on evidence that they like you or that they're meeting you in this relationship.
Wow. Okay. We're moving away from relationships.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I have always found it hard to open up with people about my life and my problems. My entire family was terrible with vulnerability, so that's just what I grew up with. I want to be better though. What is your advice to someone who wants to start or go about starting with this process?
Okay. Well, we moved from intimate relationships, but we are still on relationships. Your family is the first exposure to what's safe. And I really want us to safety, right? Your family is the first exposure of what's safe. Vulnerability, in order to feel vulnerable, you have to feel safe. But a lot of us get into the belief that we just have to feel safe around people. No, safety comes from your own set of your sets of standards and values and all of those things. It's trusting yourself enough that where you are and who you're with is safe enough to be vulnerable. So again, I talk about confidence as this self-trust, and this is where it comes into play, because your confidence is what opens the floodgates for all relationships in your life, but also with vulnerability, you are coming from, it has to come from you feeling safe enough to do so. Family, though, if they're closed off or they're not open emotionally, have imprinted a sense of there's some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like there's danger with expressing yourself, and that's, as a kid, it's like you don't understand, like, oh my God, my parents aren't opening up. They're not really like emotionally open. But then when you start becoming an adult, you see that as, oh, they probably were that because they're protecting themselves from something. So then you have this false sense of like, okay, I got to protect myself. And that becomes your blueprint. We've talked about it in a few episodes where we were, what is it that we have to recreate the blueprints of life because we're adopting things from families and people that we love. And it's not working for us, So that's why when we get into relationships, especially with people who are not emotionally out there, and I think we've discussed this, it comes from what their rules were in their family and how safe or unsafe they felt opening up would be. Then a lot of people close themselves off because of past relationship history. But vulnerability is allowing, everybody talks about giving love. The act of receiving love is the ultimate action in love, which is different because we all feel like, oh, we have to be there for people and we have to give love. But the ability to receive it, just like receiving a compliment, ladies, just receiving the compliment, we shut down a compliment. That's an act of shutting down vulnerability.
Wow.
It's the same thing with love. So if you want to love someone, vulnerability has to be there, because then if you are doing a one-sided love, but you're not really being able to receive it, you're doing it out of fear. You're doing it because you don't want to be alone. You're doing it because, there's some type of pleaser in you. But love is a two-way street. It's an energy that's flowing, and vulnerability is kind of like that flow of energy.
Do you think some people always believe or vulnerability shows up as affection in like the family setting?
Vulnerability is being really, I keep saying like confidence, because vulnerability is just really allowing yourself to be seen. We have so many masks, and our ego gets in the way because it's protecting us. The ego, there's nothing wrong with the ego, but it's protecting us. And a lot of times when we come from family backgrounds, and I'm assuming that's where this is coming from, it was unsafe to be open. She probably doesn't know why, because her family was just never open. But vulnerability comes from like, I'm able to be seen with you.
Okay.
Right? In all my flaws. There could be flaws. There could be things that I say that's probably not going to be received well. But I'm confident enough to know that where I am and who I am is good enough. So being open, especially in relationships, like you really, really want vulnerability to thrive in relationships, because that's where, you know, you're able to receive the love that you're giving. But yeah, vulnerability is all just about being seen. But feeling safe enough to be seen is really hard for people. And that takes like that's where that confidence comes from. So one thing that she can do right now, and anyone who's struggling with being vulnerable, is I would say take a look at kind of where you're craving love most and who that's from. We did an episode on like, whose love would you lose if you were unapologetically yourself? Whose love, ladies, would you lose if you were who you were in all that you are, right? Because we try to be so many things for people that we kind of lose sense of where we are, you know, to our core, our sense of center. So if you think about it, vulnerability is staying tight and staying connected to your center. Getting rid of the masks of who you should be and feeling open, because all relationships, if you think about your closest friendships, it's easy. That's because you don't have any masks on. You're just very open. You know that you can trust this person. You know you can be who you are around this person. In a relationship, you want that intimately as well. You don't want to feel like you have to put a mask on in order for you to be loved. So in order to start with that, I would pay attention to whose love you crave most. Whose attention are you trying to receive subconsciously? Because again, we're like, we don't care about our families. Like, I don't hold any grudges. I'm not trying to get love from my mom and dad, but it's still there. You know, your body stores all of these feelings. And I think that if you were to really pay attention to how you needed to be to gain the love of one parent or one significant person in your life and let that go, you'll feel more open in your relationships.
Wow. Is it also, people are scared to get hurt, but if you're confident in yourself, then that fear won't stop you from being open?
Well, the pain, like we're all afraid of getting hurt. That pain, again, if you weren't tied to the history of where did that first pain come from? Like, okay, I was X, Y, and Z when I was younger, and I lost love from that. So for instance, last episode, I talk about things that I want to feel and things that I want to start really implementing in my life, and playfulness is one. When I was younger, sorry, Mom, if you're watching this, when I was younger, you know, my mom was a young mom and we went through hard times, right? Things happened to her in her life where emotionally she was coming from fear, right? And acted out in my childhood. So that playfulness when I was younger, I wasn't able to be that playful. I wasn't able to experiment the way I had to grow up fast because it would trigger her, you know, in those moments. So I learned growing up that playing was dangerous. Do you know what I mean? You're going to get in trouble. So for me to be my playful self, I couldn't because, you know, the history, and again, this is my child history. This is my child memory. This is my, you know, as I'm older now and I can have more empathy for my mom and what she went through too. But as a child, I made a belief and put it in my blueprint that playing was dangerous, that it served no purpose, and that you're going to get in trouble and you're going to lose love. So then I grew up and I was able to be successful with my mom by taking care of things and kind of being like a young adult and helping with my sister and all of those things. And then I took that on in my whole life. And that's a mask that I adopted, you know, and it wasn't until recently where it's like, yeah, my core is a nurturer, but I was forced to be a nurturer when I was younger. So we're adopting things and putting masks on because that's the way we had to survive. But it's not serving us, you know? So then so then we have one mask on and then we put another mask on to be something for someone else. Because then we learned, oh, you have to be a chameleon in order to get the love and appreciation that you want from several, like from the different people in your life. So for instance, like the reason why I get triggered, you know, when Andrew
is playful,
does this playful, because it's just like, I still have that belief system and that blueprint in me that that's wrong. Like that's not purposeful. And you know, it's like this child saying, you're going to get us in trouble. Right. So this is just like a small example of stuff that we do unconsciously. And vulnerability is saying, I'm going to take off the mask and I'm going to be who I am with or without anyone's approval. Right? Because we all have to be so many things for people, but it's saying like, hey, if you think about just think about the one person in your life where you're just like, I don't have to do anything for this person. They see me and all of my flaws and all of my glory, and they love me just the same. That is the openness that we want in our intimate relationships as well. So I would start here, my dear, if you're watching, by really taking note of whose love you craved and who did you have to be for them, and what are you willing to do to let go of that mask?
Wow. I'm thinking about my relationship. Okay. No, because my thing was that he wouldn't say that he loved me, but then I'm thinking it's really because he couldn't be vulnerable.
Right.
And that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Interesting. But I think his thing is like a fear of abandonment. And if he opens up to someone and feels vulnerable, that he'll be abandoned.
And here's the thing that in history, he has proof that he did get abandoned.
No, I know. So I'm thinking,
you know, so we all have proof. Here's the thing. Like, it's not like we're making shit up.
No, it's a true story. Yeah. But to me, I'm just like, just tell me you love me. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. And then for him, it's like, well, anyone that I love abandons me.
Right.
Or that I express that to.
Yeah.
So I'd rather not express it because therefore I won't get hurt and nobody will leave me.
Yes.
It's crazy though.
So what we want to do, and again, it's not giving people a hall pass, you know, to just be whatever. But we all have experiences and history to prove those. Like, we all have patterns and ways that we are right now, ways that we're blocking vulnerability. And we have history for the reasons why we are the way we are. Like, we have proof. So if someone's like, you're so closed off. Well, this is why I'm closed off, because when I was younger, or because my family and, you know, I tried to do this and they told me that I was a bad person, or like, how could you do that? And then so now it's like, well, I can't win, so this is how I am. No, it's not how you are. You are the person, you know, when you were younger, like for me, it's like that playful. It's like, I have that in me. Mm-hmm. We have all those energies. There's too much history and times of people shutting it down. So then you try to be something that you're not, and then you're not happy, and you self-sabotage in relationships because you're not sure of why, you know, you're not connecting and with someone, and you want them to be the one that opens up, but it's really you that isn't allowing them. So in this situation, if you're with somebody who's like, oh, I can't open up, you know, for fear of abandonment, they're going to do, it's like they're looking for more proof
that you care about them and will be there for them.
Well, sometimes the opposite. A lot of the times, yes. So they're like, watch, like, I'm not going to open up because I know you're going to leave me. But then that starts that cycle.
It really will happen.
You know? And then that just becomes more proof that, oh, see, so-and-so left me or threatened to leave me. And so that's why I'm not opening up. So it becomes more and more proof. So we have to break the cycle. And yes, our family does a number to us. But we're also grown and we have to break that cycle. Because true intimacy, we talked about it last episode. Into me, you see. You see me, but you can't see the person and you can't have someone see you if you're putting up shields of protection. Mm-hmm. So vulnerability is just taking off the armor.
Okay. Let's do one more question.
Okay.
I have been dating my boyfriend for 7 years and lately I've been questioning our relationship. This is kind of similar to the last one we did earlier. I don't feel like we are on the same page of passion for each other. Mm-hmm. We have fights that end up being the same fight, which is me not believing that he is seeing my side. I try to see his side and understand where he's coming from, but I don't get that in return. He has a temper and very much I'm right, you're wrong attitude. In past relationships, I would let fights eat away at me, but with him, I try to talk it out, but most times it ends up unresolved. Mm. We have built a life together, and I think he's gotten comfy in the relationship and doesn't think that I will ever leave him. So I'm feeling stuck, and now it's making me want to flee. My question is it me? Do I need to change in this relationship to make it work?
Short answer, yes. Long answer, I would expand the scope with, if I were sitting next to him, I would expand the scope with him as well. You said you're not on the same page with passion. You have to identify, this is the thing. We can't just throw terms out and not even know where they are with, where they fit and fall with us. What does passion mean to you? Break it down. I'm so sick of hearing passion. I'm so sick, especially with millennials too. You just got to follow your passion. No, break it down. What does that mean? Passion. What is that feeling? What are we what does it look like? What do you want to experience in your relationship? Paint a picture. How do you want to go home? How do you want to go home and how do you want to connect with him? What can he do and what is he already doing that actually you can come from appreciation? What could be better? Be very hyper specific, because if you're talking and it sounds like he's truly a dude, okay, because he's just this is what it is and this is who I am, and he thinks everything is just all okay, and you're having all these feelings. If you want leverage in this situation, you have to be very specific about what you're asking. If you're just I just don't feel passion anymore. He's I feel passion.
Oh,
I still think you're hot.
Yeah.
I just don't feel he doesn't, there's no specifics for him to do. So he can't win. And for a dude, a masculine man, they want to be successful, but you're giving him no roadmap to be successful. So if you were to expand this, what I would say is first you get clear before you start. I just want to feel this spark. I just want us to, I just want to first get specific about how you want to come home, how you want to experience life with him, how you want to connect with him. How do you want him to touch you? How would you want him to, what conversations would you guys like to talk about? What is it that you want to feel sexually? Get clear about that first, so that when you do talk to him, you have more leverage and he has specific tasks. It's almost like he can actually see a roadmap to success. If he knows you like to be touched, your arm, you want soft touch on your arm, or you want him to embrace you when you come home, at least those are specifics, and there's a roadmap for him to be successful in those. He can actually do those things, but if you're just I just don't feel like you're happy when I come home. Well, that's not very specific enough for a dude. You know what I mean? But if you give him specifics hey, when I come home, I just want to connect with you, And then maybe he's well, I'm just coming home from work, and usually I just kind of like to have an hour of just watching TV or kind of calm me down from the day. And then maybe after that, we can both talk and we can connect. And then that might work for you, right? So you guys can actually, when you get specific, you guys can actually go back and forth and there's something to talk about. He's shutting down because he feels like he can't win.
Yeah, and passion's such a vague term that what does that even mean?
Right.
And what does that entail?
Can we stop just using words without any clear, again, like it's with happiness. Happiness is an accumulation of feelings. Passion is an accumulation of feelings. What makes Chrissy passionate is not what makes me passionate, right?
What if it is?
It might be,
actually is.
we're probably
no,
the
I
same
think
person.
it actually is because mine's playfulness.
Yeah.
When I feel the most passionate with somebody is when I feel the most playful because that's when I feel the most free.
Yeah. Mine is, no, for sure. Like playfulness and openness, that's where you want. I just want us to take these words and break them down.
No, I love
right?
that. Yeah.
Like especially for me, passion because passion is different in every area of your life. Work, it's different. And in the bedroom, it's different. So for me in the bedroom, if I were to break down passion, taking the erotic blueprint, I have a lot of the psychological kinky, right? And I have sensual. I'm like a very sensual person. So I like beauty in things. I like, I like the romance of it. Not in the romance in the sense of like being, overly lovey-dovey, because to me, I want the intellectual conversation first. I want that connection. Then it opens up my sensuality. Then it opens up other things. So being very clear, like for me, passion is connection. It's intellect. It's using, like, again, when we're playing with masculine and feminine energies, which we'll be talking about, it's really like for me, passion is me falling into my femininity more, but also being being inspired intellectually, because that's what makes me feel open, right? And with you, it could be playful, right? When you're like feeling, oh my gosh, like I feel open and I feel all those things, like that is your passion for intimacy.
Yes.
So you have to create, different, I think, your own roadmap to success, and your partner needs to know about it, right?
Yeah, but they can't know unless they have some direction.
Yeah.
Because then what if they're trying things and they think that they're making an effort, but it's not being recognized?
Yes.
But in their mind, they're making an effort, and then it's like, okay, well, nothing's good enough because they have no idea.
Yeah. Nope. And when you're talking to men, like, and this is overgeneralizing, or if you have a partner, even just in same-sex couples, if you have a partner who leans more towards masculine, we have both, so let's not get it twisted, but leans more towards the masculine energy, you have to be very specific about what you're asking. Like, I think just partners in general, even if your partner leans more towards the feminine, it's like we all just need to be specific. Stop with the vague terms. Stop saying like, oh, I just don't feel this in our relationship. Well, define the feeling, and how can they be successful at making you feel that way? Because what you'll learn is that your partners do love you and do want to make you happy. But if you give them specifics, they'll do it.
Oh, but then if you give them specifics and they aren't trying to make an effort,
well, then
that's an indication.
The first thing is then you can raise your hand for help. And get someone who can help you guys open that up. And maybe there's some resentment there. And maybe there's some things that, you just, that your partner is just feeling. And you guys, and you just need some help. Or you've done all that and, it might be time to move on. Was that it?
That's it.
Oh, wow.
We flew through that.
So a lot of the things that we discussed, we're going to put Jaya's quiz, the erotic blueprint quiz, so that you and your partner can do it. And even if you're single, girl, it's good to know these things. It's good to know who you are. Self-awareness is the best. It creates the strong foundation for everything in your life, knowing who you are, what you value, and everything that you're about. And the other part of this, and we're going to talk, because I know a lot of people search and want to know about, the masculine and like the difference between masculine and feminine energies. You hear this being thrown about, and it's something that I actually discuss and we've done events on. And for me, I break down kind of like the energies within each of the energies. So I think of like archetypes within both of those. And what you'll find is when you find yourself even in those, a lot of the things start to make sense as far as your values in life, how to connect with your partner, depending on what type of masculine that, that energy is, or even if you're a masculine. I have a lot of babes who have more of the masculine energy within them. And so it's really just understanding how they're playing in the relationships. Plus, you have the tools of understanding your erotic blueprints and, obviously Gary Chapman, 5 love languages. There's so many resources out there to kind of get you in the space of finding who you are. But definitely.
What's interesting, if you look at like most issues that we have in relationships really come down to us not understanding ourselves.
Right.
And then not being able to communicate that to someone else.
Yes.
So they're trying to figure you out when you don't even know yourself.
And then you're pointing the finger at them having the issue.
Yes.
Yes. So I think we're huge here at TLC at taking responsibility for, the state of our relationships. Because once you do that, you actually have power to change it. When you're a victim, there's no power. You're just waiting for someone to make you happy. But when you take responsibility, and again, if I were talking to your partners, I would say the same thing. But it just takes one person to change the relationship. That's only if both people still want to be in the relationship. Again, if you have one person who doesn't want to be in the relationship and you do, well, you can't, it's a one-sided relationship. Yeah. You can't have that. So I think that's it, ladies.
Yes.
If you have any more questions, just like Chrissy said, please email ask@theladiescoach.com. Also, head over to theladiescoach.com just to check out the resources that we'll have for you below. If you have any future topics you want us to cover,
send those to the same email address.
Yes. And